"What the hell are you doing here, girl? Get out!" Bradford Sterling burst from his glass war room, his face twisted with fury. The billionaire CEO shoves past Elena Washington, deliberately bumping her shoulder hard enough to make her stumble. Elena steadies herself against the marble wall, her janitor's uniform stark against the gleaming corporate tower. Sterling blocks her path completely, arms crossed like a bouncer. "I should have you arrested for trespassing. This is where real money gets made, not where welfare cases come to gawk." Behind him, 30 executives panic as Whitman Financial hemorrhages $500 million. Red numbers cascading, careers ending, empires crumbling. Elena quietly watches their screens. She sees what they missed. 1 decimal point. 10 seconds to fix everything. The same black woman he just shoved holds the key to saving his entire fortune. What happens when your worst enemy becomes your only salvation? The 47th floor of Whitman Financial Tower buzzes with desperate energy at 2:30 in the morning. Emergency lighting casts harsh shadows across mahogany conference tables, where the most powerful traders on Wall Street huddle around glowing screens. Each red number represents another family's retirement fund vanishing into digital oblivion. Elena Washington moves through this chaos like a ghost. Her cleaning cart squeaks softly as she empties wastebaskets filled with crumpled trading reports and empty energy drink cans. To the executives, she might as well be invisible furniture. They speak freely around her, their voices carrying the weight of impending doom. "The algorithm's completely rogue," whispers Chief Technology Officer Michael Torres into his phone. "We're losing 3 million every 5 minutes. If this continues until Asian markets open, we're looking at systemic collapse." Elena pauses near a discarded computer printout. The quantum mathematics equations scattered across the paper make her heart race. She recognizes these formulas intimately. She should. She helped design the original framework 12 years ago at Goldman Sachs, back when her MIT PhD in applied mathematics meant something more than a piece of paper gathering dust in a storage unit. That was before 2008. Before the recession killed her hedge fund career. Before her mother's cancer diagnosis drained every savings account. Before cleaning toilets became her only option to keep food on the table and medical bills paid. Bradford Sterling commands the center of this financial battlefield from behind reinforced glass. At 58, he's built a $3 billion empire through sheer force of will and an uncanny ability to read market psychology. His Harvard MBA hangs prominently behind his desk, a constant reminder of his intellectual pedigree. But tonight, his usual confidence cracks like ice under pressure. "Where the hell is our quantum team?" Sterling barks at his assembled advisors. "I don't care if you have to drag them from their beds. This algorithm cost us $200 million to develop, and it's about to bankrupt us." The irony cuts deep. Elena designed similar systems during her Goldman days, back when she was Dr. Elena Washington, not just another invisible black woman pushing a mop bucket. She understands quantum entanglement principles better than most of Sterling's expensive consultants. She can spot algorithmic errors that would take their computers hours to identify. But here she stands, collecting their garbage while they fumble with her life's work. Sterling's phone rings constantly. Reporters, regulators, rival firms smelling blood in the water. Each conversation grows more desperate than the last. "No comment!" He snaps into his phone. "Whitman Financial remains confident in our technological capabilities." The lie hangs heavy in the recycled air. Through the glass walls, Elena watches 30 of Wall Street's brightest minds stare helplessly at cascading numbers. They've tried everything. System reboots, emergency protocols, calling in favors from MIT and Stanford. Nothing works. Elena knows why. She spotted the error within minutes of seeing their screens. A simple decimal point displacement in the volatility calculation matrix. The algorithm thinks market stability decreases over time instead of increasing. Every trade makes the problem worse, like a snake eating its own tail. The solution would take her exactly 10 keystrokes, less than 15 seconds of work. But she's just the cleaning lady. Her opinion doesn't matter. Her PhD means nothing. Her expertise stays locked behind the barrier of their assumptions about who belongs in their world. Sterling glances at her through the glass, his expression mixing annoyance with something darker. His security team should have cleared the floor hours ago. Having the help witness their crisis feels like additional humiliation piled onto financial catastrophe. "Torres," Sterling calls out, "why is maintenance still here? This is confidential corporate business." Elena continues her work, moving methodically from office to office. She overhears fragments of increasingly panicked conversations. Pension funds affected, retirement accounts compromised, teachers and firefighters facing destroyed savings because of mathematical arrogance. The weight of 2.8 million American families rests on solving an equation she could fix before Sterling finishes his next phone call. But institutional racism runs deeper than any algorithm. Her black skin and janitor's uniform create an invisible barrier stronger than any corporate firewall. They see her hands and assume incompetence. They hear her voice and expect subservience. They never imagine brilliance hiding behind their own prejudices. How long can genius stay silent while the world burns around willful ignorance? 2:47 in the morning. Elena enters the main war room to empty the central wastebasket. The glass doors hiss shut behind her, trapping her inside the epicenter of financial chaos. 36 monitors display the same horrifying truth. Whitman financial hemorrhages, money faster than a severed artery bleeds life. Sterling stands at the main console, his normally perfect hair disheveled from running his hands through it repeatedly. "Someone found the goddamn bug! We're burning through 3 million every minute! Every minute!" His voice cracks with the strain of watching his empire crumble in real time. Senior analysts huddle around workstations, their faces illuminated by screens showing algorithmic carnage. The quantum trading system has become a digital hurricane, destroying everything in its path. Elena approaches the central display. Her trained eye immediately locks onto the core problem, right there on the main screen. Eigenvalue lambda equals 0.0847. Her heart stops. The decimal point sits one place too far left. It should read 0.847. This isn't complicated quantum physics. This is basic mathematical notation, a typo that transforms market-stabilizing code into a wealth-destroying monster. The algorithm interprets increasing volatility as decreasing risk, causing it to make progressively more dangerous trades. Elena has built these exact systems. She knows this error like a mother knows her child's cry. She inches closer to the keyboard. 10 keystrokes. Move the decimal point one space right. Add negative eigenvalue handling. The bleeding stops immediately. "Excuse me." Her voice barely rises above a whisper. Sterling whips around, his eyes blazing with fury. "What did you just say?" "The eigenvalue calculation," Elena begins. "Get away from there!" Sterling explodes across the room, his face purple with rage. He physically grabs Elena's wrist and yanks her away from the terminal. "Are you insane? This is a $50 million computer system, not your mop bucket!" Elena stumbles backward, her cleaning supplies scattering across the polished floor. Every eye in the room locks onto the spectacle. The billionaire CEO manhandles the black janitor while his company burns. "This woman could have destroyed everything," Sterling shouts to his team. "Unqualified people touching sophisticated equipment. Security!" Dr. Maya Patel, a visiting MIT quantum mathematics professor, looks up from her laptop. Something in Elena's body language catches her attention. The way Elena stared at those screens, the confidence in her initial approach to the keyboard. "Bradford, wait," Dr. Patel calls out. "What exactly were you trying to tell us?" Sterling steps between them like a protective barrier. "She was trying to sabotage our recovery efforts. These people don't understand what we're dealing with here." Elena straightens her uniform, dignity intact despite the humiliation. Her voice stays calm, professional. "Your volatility matrix has the eigenvalue decimal point misplaced. The algorithm thinks stability decreases with time instead of increasing. Every trade amplifies the error." Stunned silence fills the war room. Dr. Patel's fingers fly across her keyboard, checking Elena's observation. 30 seconds pass. A minute. Her face goes pale. "Oh my God!" Dr. Patel's voice barely escapes her throat. "She's absolutely right! How did you—" Sterling's world tilts off its axis. His cognitive framework cannot process this information. The cleaning lady understands quantum mathematics? Impossible. There must be some mistake, some coincidence. "That's—" Sterling stammers, his voice trailing into confused silence. Elena maintains eye contact with the man who just humiliated her in front of 30 witnesses. I have a PhD in applied mathematics from MIT. I designed similar algorithms at Goldman Sachs before the 2008 recession ended my career. The revelation hits the room like a financial tsunami. Wall Street's most powerful executives staring at a genius they dismissed as invisible help. A black woman whose intellect surpasses their combined expertise, reduced to cleaning their offices to survive. Sterling's face cycles through disbelief, embarrassment, and something approaching fear. What happens when your assumptions about intelligence collide with undeniable mathematical truth? 3:02 in the morning. The war room falls silent except for the hum of overheating servers and the distant whisper of emergency ventilation systems. Elena's revelation hangs in the air like smoke from an explosion. MIT PhD, Goldman Sachs. The cleaning lady just claimed intellectual credentials that would make most of Sterling's team envious. Sterling's face contorts through a spectrum of emotions. Disbelief, anger, something approaching panic. His entire worldview depends on clear hierarchies. Rich people are smart. Poor people are simple. White executives are competent. Black janitors invisible. Elena Washington threatens to shatter that comfortable delusion. That's impossible, Sterling finally manages, his voice thin and strained. If you're really qualified for this work, what are you doing? He gestures dismissively at her uniform. Mopping floors? Elena's response comes without hesitation or shame. Medical bills don't care about your PhD, Mr. Sterling. Cancer treatment costs $300,000. Mathematics doesn't pay for chemotherapy when you're blacklisted from every major firm. The truth cuts deeper than any insult. Elena lost everything in 2008, not through incompetence, but through systematic industry collapse. Her expertise became worthless overnight when hedge funds folded like paper airplanes in a hurricane. Pride doesn't feed families. Dignity doesn't cure cancer. Dr. Patel steps forward, her laptop still displaying Elena's mathematical correction. Bradford, she's absolutely right about the eigenvalue error. This is graduate-level quantum mathematics. She identified in seconds what our team missed for 6 weeks. Sterling's jaw clenches. His empire built on being the smartest person in any room. His confidence is rooted in intellectual superiority over everyone around him. Now he faces a black woman in a janitor's uniform who sees mathematical errors his Harvard-educated team cannot comprehend. The cognitive dissonance threatens to break his mind. Fine. Sterling's voice drips with condescension. Maybe you got lucky spotting one obvious mistake. But this system has 17,000 lines of interconnected code. One correction doesn't fix systemic problems. Elena moves closer to the main display, her eyes scanning the cascading data with surgical precision. She points to 3 additional errors Sterling's team overlooked completely. Your correlation matrix lacks negative eigenvalue handling, she explains in terms even non-mathematicians can follow. When market relationships invert during stress periods, the algorithm doesn't know how to respond. It assumes normal conditions perpetually. Her finger traces patterns across the screen with the confidence of someone reading her native language. Your risk parameters use outdated volatility models from 2019, pre-pandemic market behavior. The world changed fundamentally, but your algorithm still thinks we're living in the old reality. Sterling watches in growing horror as Elena identifies flaw after flaw in his $200 million system. Each observation is precise. Each diagnosis is accurate. His expensive consultants nod reluctantly as her explanations illuminate problems they never recognized. And your portfolio rebalancing frequency runs in milliseconds instead of seconds, Elena continues. The algorithm trades so fast it creates its own market turbulence, like a dog chasing its own tail until it falls over dizzy. The room buzzes with nervous energy as junior analysts quietly verify Elena's observations. Every calculation checks out. Every criticism reveals genuine systematic failures. Sterling feels control slipping through his fingers like water. He built his reputation on intellectual dominance. His authority rests on being the final word in financial strategy. But this black woman in a cleaning uniform just dissected his life's work with casual expertise. Anyone can point out problems, Sterling snaps, desperation creeping into his voice. Criticism is easy. Solutions require real skill. Elena turns to face him directly. No deference, no backing down. Mr. Sterling, I don't just see your problems, I know exactly how to fix them. Every single error has a simple solution. This algorithm can work perfectly with minor adjustments. Prove it, Sterling challenges, his pride overriding rational judgment. Fix our system right now. If you succeed, I'll give you $50 million and make you our chief technology officer. If you fail... He pauses, savoring the power dynamic he's trying to reestablish. If you fail, you will never work in this building again. Security will escort you out permanently. No more charity employment cleaning up after your betters. The ultimatum electrifies the room. 30 witnesses to a billionaire's desperate gamble. Sterling believes he's regaining control by setting impossible stakes. Either Elena proves her genius publicly, or she disappears forever into the economic invisibility that swallowed her before. Elena studies his face for a long moment. She sees fear masquerading as confidence, desperation disguised as power. A man so terrified of being wrong that he'd rather destroy everything than admit a black woman knows more than him. I accept your challenge, Elena says quietly. But when I fix your algorithm and save your company, remember this moment. Remember how you almost chose pride over 2.8 million American families losing their retirement savings. Sterling gestures toward the main terminal with theatrical confidence. The floor is yours, Dr. Washington. Show us what MIT really teaches. But as Elena approaches the keyboard, her hands steady despite enormous pressure, Sterling's smirk begins to falter. Something in her posture suggests this won't end the way he expects. What happens when absolute confidence meets unshakable competence in a room full of witnesses? 3:15 in the morning. Elena sits at the central trading terminal, her fingers hovering over keys worth more than most people's annual salary. 30 pairs of eyes watch her every movement. The weight of expectation presses down like atmospheric pressure before a storm. Sterling paces behind her like a caged predator, his confidence wavering with each passing second. He made this challenge expecting an easy victory, expose the pretender, humiliate the uppity janitor, restore natural order to his carefully controlled universe. But Elena's posture radiates quiet authority that makes him increasingly nervous. Beginning system diagnostics, Elena announces, her voice steady despite massive pressure. Her fingers dance across the keyboard with surgical precision, navigating through 17,000 lines of quantum mathematics code like she's reading bedtime stories to children. The main display shifts, revealing algorithmic structures hidden beneath user interfaces. Data flows in patterns most people see as incomprehensible noise. But Elena reads this digital language fluently, her MIT training and Goldman Sachs experience converging into devastating expertise. Sterling's phone buzzes constantly, financial journalists catching wind of Whitman's crisis, regulatory officials demanding explanations, competitor firms circling like vultures sensing carrion. Sir, his assistant interrupts nervously. Bloomberg wants a statement about the trading anomalies. The SEC is asking questions, and... She hesitates. Asian pre-markets are showing panic selling. Sterling's empire crumbles in real time while his salvation sits 3 feet away in a janitor's uniform. Elena identifies the first correction point, the misplaced decimal in the eigenvalue calculation. She positions her cursor over the error, then pauses. This single keystroke could save or doom everything. Wait. Sterling's voice cracks with sudden doubt. What if you're wrong? What if this makes everything worse? Elena turns to face him, her expression mixing professional patience with personal hurt. Mr. Sterling, you've spent 30 minutes questioning my credentials, my intelligence, and my right to exist on this floor. Now you want to question my mathematics. The room holds its breath. Senior executives who normally command global markets sit silent as students watching their teacher work. Elena returns to the keyboard. One keystroke moves the decimal point to its correct position. Lambda equals 0.847 instead of 0.0847. The effect is immediate. Trading losses slow from hemorrhaging to manageable bleeding. Not fixed yet, but no longer catastrophic. Dr. Patel monitors secondary screens, her excitement building. Bradford, look at the loss rate. It's already decreasing by 40%. Sterling stares at the numbers, his worldview shifting like continental plates. The black woman he dismissed as worthless just performed mathematical surgery that his entire team couldn't accomplish in 6 weeks. But Elena isn't finished. Her fingers move to the second error. The correlation matrix lacks negative eigenvalue handling. This correction requires a deeper understanding of quantum entanglement principles applied to market psychology. Your algorithm assumes market relationships stay constant, Elena explains as she works. But during crisis periods, traditional correlations invert. Safe investments become risky. Risky investments sometimes become safe havens. Your system needed flexibility you never programmed. She implements dynamic correlation matrices that adapt to changing market conditions. The code flows across screens like poetry written in mathematics. Sterling's phone rings again. This time, he answers with growing confidence. Yes, we've identified the algorithmic issues. Our team is implementing corrections now. He glances at Elena with something approaching respect, though pride prevents full acknowledgement. Elena tackles the third error. Outdated volatility models using pre-pandemic assumptions. Her fingers fly across keys, updating risk parameters to reflect post-2020 market realities. Economic relationships fundamentally changed during global lockdowns, but Sterling's algorithm still operated on obsolete assumptions. There, Elena announces, sitting back in her chair. 3 major corrections implemented. Your algorithm should stabilize within the next trading cycle. The room watches in fascination as red numbers begin shifting toward black. Losses slow, hemorrhaging stops. The digital crisis that threatened global financial stability gradually comes under control. Sterling stares at the screens in disbelief. 30 minutes ago, he faced bankruptcy. Now his algorithm runs smoother than ever before, generating profits instead of destroying wealth. How did you... Sterling's voice trails off into confused silence. Elena stands, smoothing her uniform with dignity and tact despite everything she's endured. Because I didn't just fix your algorithm, Mr. Sterling. I fixed my algorithm. I designed these quantum trading systems 12 years ago at Goldman Sachs. You've been running a corrupted version of my own creation. The revelation hits like a financial tsunami. Every person in that room realizes they've witnessed the original architect repairing her masterpiece. The cleaning lady they ignored, dismissed, and humiliated just saved their entire world using expertise they never bothered to recognize. Sterling's face cycles through emotions too complex for simple description. Relief, embarrassment, fear, something approaching awe. What happens when your deepest prejudices collide with undeniable mathematical brilliance? 3:30 in the morning. Elena's initial corrections have stabilized the bleeding, but deeper problems lurk beneath the surface like hidden landmines. The algorithm still loses money, just more slowly now. What seemed like victory transforms into the beginning of a much larger battle. Sterling hovers behind Elena's chair, his previous arrogance replaced by nervous energy. The losses are slowing, but we're still hemorrhaging cash. Can you fix everything? Elena studies the cascading data with the intensity of a surgeon examining X-rays. Your system has 7 interconnected problems. I've addressed 3. The remaining 4 are more complex, requiring sequential repairs in precise order. One mistake crashes everything permanently. The pressure amplifies exponentially. Asian markets open in 2 hours. Global financial media monitors every tick of Whitman's stock price. Elena must perform mathematical miracles while the world watches. Her phone vibrates, a text from Mercy General Hospital. Elena glances at the screen, her composure cracking slightly. Sterling notices immediately. Personal calls during a crisis? How professional. He snatches the phone from her hands before she can react. Let's see what's so important it interrupts saving my company. Elena lunges for her phone, but Sterling holds it high above his head like a playground bully. Emergency surgery recommended. Insurance denying coverage. Need immediate payment authorization. Sterling reads aloud, his voice dripping with mock sympathy. Oh, how sad. Family medical bills interrupting your important work. The room watches in uncomfortable silence as Sterling waves Elena's phone like a trophy. Maybe if people like you made better financial decisions, you wouldn't need charity employment cleaning up after successful people. Elena's mother. The only person who believed in her when the financial world abandoned her. The woman who sacrificed everything to put her daughter through MIT. Now dying while Elena endures public humiliation from the man whose company she's saving. Give me my phone back! Elena's voice stays level despite inner turmoil. When you finish your job. Sterling pockets the device with cruel satisfaction. No more distractions. Focus on work, not personal drama. Dr. Patel steps forward, her face flushed with anger. Bradford, that's completely inappropriate. Return her phone immediately. Sterling ignores the MIT professor, turning back to Elena with predatory satisfaction. Continue working, Dr. Washington. Show us more of your alleged genius. Elena forces herself to breathe slowly. Her mother taught her dignity survives any humiliation. She turns back to the keyboard, channeling rage into mathematical precision. The fourth correction involves portfolio rebalancing frequency. The algorithm trades in milliseconds, creating market turbulence faster than human comprehension. Elena adjusts timing parameters from microsecond reactions to measured seconds, like teaching a hyperactive child to count to 10 before speaking. Frequency optimization complete, Elena announces. Trading volatility decreases immediately. Sterling's phone rings constantly. Financial journalists catching wind of Whitman's crisis. No comment, he repeats mechanically while watching Elena work miracles he doesn't understand. Elena moves to the fifth correction. Risk assessment protocols using machine learning models trained on pre-pandemic data. The world fundamentally changed in 2020, but Sterling's algorithm still makes decisions based on obsolete assumptions. Her fingers dance across multiple interfaces simultaneously, updating neural network parameters with post-pandemic market behavior. Supply chain disruptions, remote work transformations, government intervention patterns, everything the old models never anticipated. Your algorithm thinks we still live in 2019, Elena explains as she works. It assumes normal correlations between inflation and employment, between currency fluctuations and commodity prices. Those relationships broke permanently during lockdowns. Sterling leans over her shoulder, deliberately invading personal space. Fascinating lecture, Professor. Maybe you should have stayed in academia instead of contaminating professional environments. Elena's hands pause momentarily. The insult cuts deeper because it contains truth. She belonged in universities, research labs, places where intelligence mattered more than appearance. Instead, she cleans toilets to survive. But she continues working. Her mother needs surgery. 2.8 million families need their retirement savings protected. Personal pain becomes fuel for professional excellence. Elena implements updated machine learning parameters based on current economic reality. The algorithm's decision-making improves dramatically, like glasses correcting severe nearsightedness. 5 corrections complete, Elena announces. 2 remaining. Sterling's assistant approaches nervously. Sir, the SEC is demanding immediate explanations. Bloomberg is running live coverage of our crisis, and several major clients are threatening to pull their accounts. Sterling's face darkens further. The pressure of potential regulatory investigation and client exodus makes him increasingly desperate for someone to blame. This is what happens when we lower standards, Sterling mutters loud enough for everyone to hear. Diversity hires create more problems than they solve. Elena's jaw tightens, but she doesn't respond. She focuses on the 6th correction involving hedging strategies that assume normal market liquidity. During crisis periods, liquidity evaporates like morning dew. She programs dynamic hedging algorithms that adapt to changing market conditions. Instead of rigid rules, flexible responses. Instead of assuming constant liquidity, prepare for drought periods. The implementation requires a deep understanding of market microstructure and behavioral economics. Elena draws on knowledge accumulated through years of real-world trading experience, not just academic theory. 6 corrections implemented, Elena reports. Final error involves stress testing protocols. Sterling checks her confiscated phone ostentatiously. 3 more messages from the hospital. Sounds urgent. Maybe you should work faster. The cruelty is breathtaking, using her dying mother as leverage to pressure faster work. Elena closes her eyes for 3 seconds, finding center through meditation techniques learned during her darkest post-2008 days. When she opens them, her focus becomes laser-sharp. Elena begins the 7th and final correction. The algorithm's stress testing assumes linear relationships between market variables. But financial crises create exponential effects that overwhelm linear models. She implements chaos theory mathematics, accounting for butterfly effects and cascade failures that traditional models ignore. The work requires understanding complex systems theory applied to global economics. Sterling paces behind her like a caged animal. How much longer? Asian markets open in 90 minutes. If this doesn't work perfectly, I'll hold you personally responsible for every dollar we lose. Elena's fingers fly across keyboards with supernatural precision. Lines of code flow like water, finding optimal paths through digital landscapes. She's not just fixing Sterling's broken algorithm, she's rebuilding the quantum trading system she originally designed, improved with 12 years of additional insight. Almost finished, Elena whispers, more to herself than anyone else. The final keystrokes implement stress testing protocols based on real-world crisis patterns rather than theoretical models. Elena builds safeguards that recognize when markets behave irrationally, protecting against cascade failures that destroyed so many firms in 2008. Complete. Elena sits back in her chair, exhaustion evident despite professional composure. All 7 corrections were implemented. Your algorithm should now perform better than original specifications. What happens when a mathematical genius meets systematic cruelty in a room full of witnesses? 3:57 in the morning. Elena's corrected algorithm hums through Whitman's servers like a perfectly tuned engine. The bleeding has stopped. Numbers stabilize into profitable patterns for the first time in 6 weeks. Sterling's empire pulls back from the brink of collapse through mathematical precision he never understood. But Elena's trained eye catches something else, hidden beneath the surface chaos. Patterns that don't match natural market behavior. She scrolls through historical trading logs, her expertise recognizing signatures most analysts would miss. This wasn't a random algorithmic failure. Someone deliberately sabotaged the system. The decimal point error was placed too precisely, risk parameters modified too systematically, neural network training data corrupted too strategically. Mr. Sterling, Elena's voice carries new tension. This wasn't a bug. Your algorithm was sabotaged from the inside. Sterling freezes mid-pace. That's impossible. Only 3 people have administrative access, myself, Torres, and... His voice trails off as realization dawns. Elena's fingers trace digital breadcrumbs through audit logs, login timestamps, code modification histories, IP addresses. The evidence creates an unmistakable trail leading to one conclusion. The sabotage originated from your son's user account, Elena announces quietly. James Sterling has been systematically destroying your trading algorithm for 3 months. The room falls silent except for humming servers and Sterling's ragged breathing. Elena displays the evidence on the main screen. James Sterling's digital fingerprints scattered across every corrupted file, deliberate destruction disguised as random errors. Sterling staggers backward as if physically struck. His own son, his heir, his legacy. The boy he groomed to inherit a financial empire instead chose to destroy it from within. Why? Sterling's voice cracks like breaking glass. Why would James do this? Elena's investigation reveals a deeper truth. Insurance policies, bankruptcy clauses, hidden cryptocurrency accounts. James orchestrated Whitman's destruction to collect massive insurance payouts while shifting blame to algorithmic failure. Your son stands to collect $800 million if Whitman Financial fails, Elena explains with clinical precision. He's been systematically sabotaging your systems while shorting your stock through offshore accounts. Sterling's phone buzzes with another call. This time he doesn't answer. His world collapses not from external market forces, but from betrayal within his own family. Everything he built, everyone he employed, millions of retirement accounts, all sacrificed for his son's greed. Elena faces an impossible choice. She can fix the algorithm completely and expose James's crimes, but doing so destroys Sterling's family while saving everyone else's financial future. Mr. Sterling, I can implement the final fix and trace the sabotage publicly, or I can stay quiet about James's involvement, but I won't let 2.8 million families lose their savings to protect your family's reputation. Sterling stares at the evidence of his son's betrayal. His choice? Family loyalty or moral justice, personal shame or financial responsibility. Elena gives him 60 seconds to decide before she makes the choice herself. 4:03 in the morning. Sterling stares at the evidence of his son's betrayal, his face cycling through disbelief, rage, and something approaching despair. The weight of choice crushes down like atmospheric pressure. Expose James and destroy his family. Stay silent and destroy millions of innocent families. I need more time, Sterling whispers, his voice hollow with shock. Elena checks the countdown timer on her screen. Asian markets open in 57 minutes. Every second we delay costs more families their futures. Sterling's phone rings again. This time he answers with trembling hands. James, where are you? His voice cracks with desperate hope that somehow this is all a terrible mistake. The conversation lasts 30 seconds. Elena watches Sterling's face collapse as his son confirms everything. Yes, he sabotaged the algorithm. Yes, he's shorting Whitman stock. Yes, he orchestrated everything for insurance money. And no, he feels no remorse about destroying other people's lives. Sterling ends the call and turns to Elena with broken eyes. Please, fix the algorithm quietly. Don't expose James publicly. I'll pay you anything. $100 million. Just protect my family's reputation. Elena's voice stays steady despite inner turmoil. Mr. Sterling, your son's crime will cost millions of people their retirement savings. Teachers, firefighters, nurses, people who trusted their futures to your company. Money can't buy my silence when innocent lives hang in the balance. You don't understand. Sterling's voice rises with desperation. If James goes to prison, it destroys everything. Our family name, our social standing. My wife will never survive the shame. Your wife will survive shame, Elena replies coldly. But millions of retirees won't survive poverty because you chose family pride over moral responsibility. Sterling's composure finally shatters completely. The billionaire who commands global respect reveals himself as just another frightened man watching his world collapse. You're nobody! Sterling explodes, his voice echoing through the glass war room. A cleaning lady, a diversity hire. How dare you lecture me about moral responsibility? I built this empire. I employ thousands of people. You empty trash cans. The mask falls away completely. Pure racial hatred pours out like poison from a broken container. I should have had you arrested the moment you touched our equipment. People like you always want something for nothing. Always trying to tear down what superior people built through hard work and intelligence. Sterling storms to his desk, grabbing his phone with shaking hands. Security, get up here now. I want this woman arrested for corporate espionage, computer fraud, and attempted extortion. Elena watches in stunned disbelief as Sterling completely destroys his own salvation. The man whose company she just saved now wants her imprisoned to protect his criminal son. Mr. Sterling, I'm trying to save your company and protect innocent investors. Your son committed financial crimes that— Shut up! Sterling screams, spittle flying from his lips. You people always have excuses, always blame others for your failures. I don't care what you think you know. You're nothing, nothing. Two security guards burst through the glass doors. Sterling points at Elena with theatrical rage. Arrest this woman. She's been sabotaging our systems and threatening to blackmail my family. The guards look confused. They know Elena. She's worked quietly in this building for 2 years without causing any trouble, but Sterling is their boss, and his authority carries legal weight. I'm sorry, Elena, the lead guard says softly as he produces handcuffs. We have to follow orders. Elena doesn't resist as cold metal clicks around her wrists. She maintains dignity even as Sterling destroys her last chance to save both their futures. Mr. Sterling, Elena says quietly as guards escort her toward the door. In 43 minutes, when Asian markets open and your algorithm collapses completely, remember this moment. Remember that you chose pride over millions of innocent people. Sterling turns away, unable to meet her eyes. Get her out of my sight. The war room doors close behind Elena just as every screen begins flashing red emergency warnings. The temporary fix is failing. Without final corrections, total collapse becomes inevitable. What happens when prejudice proves stronger than survival instinct? 4:08 in the morning. Elena sits handcuffed in the security office 3 floors below the war room, watching disaster unfold through a small television tuned to Bloomberg. Her temporary algorithm fixes begin unraveling like a cheap sweater. Red numbers cascade across financial screens worldwide as Asian markets prepare to open in 37 minutes. The news anchor's voice carries barely controlled panic. Whitman Financial's algorithmic crisis continues to intensify. Pre-market trading shows massive volatility as investors flee anything connected to their quantum systems. This could trigger the worst financial collapse since 2008. Elena closes her eyes, thinking of her mother lying in a hospital bed, thinking of millions of families about to lose everything because one man's pride outweighed basic human decency. Upstairs, Sterling paces his war room like a caged animal. Every screen bleeds red. His temporary salvation crumbles in real time. His son's sabotage reasserts itself as Elena's corrections fail without final implementation. "Sir," Torres reports with barely controlled panic, "we're hemorrhaging faster than ever. The algorithm is entering complete system failure. We have maybe 20 minutes before total collapse." Sterling stares at screens showing his empire's death spiral. Everything he built, everyone who depends on him, destroyed by his own choice to protect the son who betrayed them all. Dr. Patel approaches Sterling with quiet urgency. "Bradford, you need Elena back here. She's the only person who understands these systems well enough to save us." "Never," Sterling snarls, his pride consuming rational thought. "I won't be humiliated by some cleaning lady. We'll find another solution." "There is no other solution!" Dr. Patel's voice cracks with frustration. "Elena designed these systems. She's the original architect. You're watching her creation die because you can't admit you were wrong about her." Sterling's phone rings. Major clients, regulatory officials, board members, all demanding explanations he can't provide. Downstairs, security guard Marcus Williams unlocks Elena's handcuffs with apologetic hands. "Elena, doctor. Elena. Patel sent me. She says the whole system is collapsing. Says you're the only one who can fix it." Elena rubs circulation back into her wrists. "Marcus, Mr. Sterling made his choice. He'd rather see everything burn than admit I was right." "But what about all those families?" Marcus asks quietly. "What about the teachers and firefighters who'll lose their pensions?" The question cuts straight to Elena's core. Her mother taught her that personal dignity never comes at the expense of others' welfare. Even when the world treats you like garbage, you don't let innocent people suffer. Elena stands slowly. "Take me back upstairs." 4:19 in the morning. Elena walks back into the war room, her head held high despite everything Sterling put her through. Every screen shows the same terrifying truth. Total system failure in 14 minutes. Sterling whips around, his face purple with rage. "What is she doing here? I ordered her removed." "You need me," Elena states simply. "Your algorithm is dying. Asian markets open in 13 minutes. Without final corrections, this spreads globally." "I don't need anything from you," Sterling screams, but his voice carries desperation now. The numbers don't lie. His empire hangs by threads. Elena walks to the main terminal, her presence commanding despite her janitor's uniform. "Mr. Sterling, I can save your company, protect millions of families, and prevent global financial chaos. But first, you need to make a choice." She points to the evidence of James's sabotage still displayed on auxiliary screens. "Expose your son's crimes and let justice work, or watch everything burn to protect one guilty person." Sterling's hands shake as reality crashes down. His company is dying. His reputation is in ruins. His choice between family loyalty and moral responsibility. The room holds its breath. 30 witnesses to a billionaire's moment of truth. "Do it," Sterling whispers, his voice barely audible. "Save the company. Expose James. I can't let innocent people suffer for my family's crimes." Elena nods once and returns to the keyboard. 12 minutes until the market opens. The most crucial keystrokes in financial history. Her fingers hover over the keys. The final correction requires implementing quantum entanglement protocols that synchronize global market behavior with local trading decisions, not just fixing the algorithm but evolving it beyond original specifications. Beginning final implementation, Elena announces to the watching world through live news feeds that have discovered the crisis. Her hands move with supernatural precision. 10 years of suppressed genius flowing through fingertips into digital salvation. She's not just fixing Sterling's broken system. She's perfecting her original masterpiece with 12 years of additional wisdom. The code flows like poetry written in mathematics. Quantum mechanics applied to human psychology. Machine learning is enhanced with emotional intelligence. Technology serves humanity instead of replacing it. 5 minutes remaining, Torres announces, his voice tight with tension. Elena implements the final safeguards. Chaos theory protocols that recognize when markets behave irrationally. Circuit breakers that prevent cascade failures. Adaptive algorithms that learn from their own mistakes. Final sequence initiated, Elena says quietly. Her last keystrokes create something beautiful. Not just a trading algorithm, but a digital ecosystem that protects investors while generating sustainable profits. Technology that serves human needs instead of exploiting human weaknesses. She types the execution command, quantum_entanglement_protocol_activate. Then she presses enter. The effect is immediate and miraculous. Every red number on every screen begins shifting toward black. The hemorrhaging stops instantly. Losses transform into gains so quickly the displays can barely keep up. Asian markets open to stability instead of chaos. Panic selling becomes confident buying. What threatens to destroy global finance becomes a demonstration of technology's potential for good. Sterling stares in absolute disbelief. How? How did you do that? Elena stands and faces the man who humiliated her, arrested her, and nearly destroyed everything to protect his pride. Her voice carries a quiet power that fills the entire room. Mr. Sterling, I didn't just fix your algorithm. I completed my life's work. What you've been running for 3 years was a corrupted, incomplete version of quantum trading systems I designed at Goldman Sachs. Tonight, for the first time, you're seeing what this technology can really accomplish. The room erupts in stunned silence as everyone realizes what they've witnessed. The cleaning lady they dismissed and degraded just performed the greatest feat of financial engineering in human history. And she did it while handcuffed, humiliated, and fighting for her mother's life. What happens when absolute genius meets absolute power in a room full of witnesses to justice? 4:27 in the morning. Global financial markets stabilize as Elena's corrected algorithm performs miracles in real time. Profits flow where losses hemorrhaged minutes before. Asian trading opens to unexpected calm instead of predicted chaos. Elena just prevented the worst financial collapse since the Great Depression. Sterling stares at the screens showing his company's resurrection, his empire saved by the black woman he tried to destroy. The weight of his choices crushes down like collapsing buildings. Then he does something that shocks everyone in the room. Sterling walks directly to Elena and drops to his knees in front of 30 witnesses. The billionaire who commanded global respect kneels before the janitor he humiliated, his voice breaking with genuine remorse. Elena, I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve to run the company you just saved. I've been blind, cruel, and stupid. Tears stream down his face as decades of privilege and prejudice crumble. Will you be our chief executive officer? Elena steps back, startled by the complete reversal. Mr. Sterling, stand up. Dignity isn't earned through submission. But Sterling remains kneeling. I'm transferring 51% controlling ownership of Whitman Financial to you immediately. Full authority, complete control. This company should belong to the person with the vision to lead it properly. The room buzzes with electric shock. A white billionaire transferring power to a black woman he dismissed as invisible help just hours earlier. Sterling pulls out his phone with trembling hands. I'm calling an emergency press conference. The world needs to know what really happened here. My racism nearly destroyed everything. Your genius saved millions of families. Bradford, Dr. Patel whispers, are you sure about this? Sterling looks up at Elena with something approaching awe. Maya. I've spent 3 hours watching mathematical miracles performed by someone I was too bigoted to see clearly. Elena Washington is the most brilliant financial mind I've ever encountered. Elena reaches down and helps Sterling to his feet. Mr. Sterling, I accept your offer. But first, we establish a foundation providing STEM opportunities for displaced professionals. No one should clean toilets to survive when they could change the world. Sterling nods eagerly. $100 million endowment. Whatever you need. Elena reveals her final surprise. Mr. Sterling, I've been quietly monitoring and fixing minor glitches in your systems for 8 months. I've been protecting your company long before tonight. The ultimate revelation. Elena was never just a janitor. She was Whitman's secret guardian angel. 6 weeks later. Elena Washington sits in the corner office that once belonged to Bradford Sterling, designing next-generation trading algorithms that prioritize stability over pure profit. Her first act as CEO was establishing the Guardian Angel Foundation, placing PhD-level janitors, drivers, and service workers back into professional roles where their expertise belongs. Sterling learned humility serves leadership better than arrogance. As head of client relations, he tells Elena's story at every investor meeting. His prejudice nearly cost everyone everything. Her brilliance saved them all. The impact ripples globally. Elena's quantum trading systems become the new industry standard, generating sustainable profits while protecting retirement accounts from algorithmic chaos. Other financial firms desperately recruit displaced STEM professionals they previously ignored. Marcus Williams now heads Whitman's diversity initiatives. Rosa Valdez manages the Employee Advancement Program. The invisible people who witnessed Elena's humiliation become visible leaders creating systemic change. Elena's mother recovered fully, her cancer treatment funded by Elena's new position. They opened a medical research wing at Mercy General Hospital, ensuring no family faces impossible choices between dignity and survival. Dr. Patel established the Washington Institute at MIT, studying applications of quantum mathematics to social justice. Technology serves humanity instead of replacing it. Sterling approaches Elena's office, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Morning briefing in 5 minutes? Elena smiles, accepting the gesture without a grudge. Ready when you are, Bradford. The transformation feels complete. Power serves justice. Intelligence transcends appearance. Respect replaces prejudice through daily choices rather than grand gestures. Elena's story spreads through social media with #GeniusHasNoUniform. Millions share experiences of being underestimated, overlooked, or dismissed based on appearance rather than ability. Sometimes the person you least expect holds the answer you most need. Sometimes 10 seconds of courage changes everything. Sometimes justice wears a janitor's uniform and carries a PhD. Elena Washington proved that talent recognizes no boundaries. Intelligence demands no permission. Dignity requires only the strength to stand tall when others try to make you small. Have you ever dismissed someone's potential based on their job, appearance, or background? Share this story if you believe genius comes in all forms. Comment below. Who's the smartest person you know that others underestimate? Subscribe for more stories where seconds change everything and prejudice costs everything. Because everyone deserves to be seen for their brilliance, not their circumstances.
At Black Voices Uncut, we don't polish away the pain or water down the message. We tell it like it is because the truth deserves nothing less. If today's story spoke to you, click like, join the conversation in the comments, and subscribe so you'll be here for the next Uncut Voice.